I'm getting a little ahead of myself because the earliest piyutim are actually before the existence of the phenomenon of rhyme. Hebrew is one of the earliest languages where rhyme appears. Syriac is probably a little earlier. Syriac being a Christian Aramaic dialect during these centuries, during the late Roman period.
What's a stupid question? What is a poem where there's no rhyme? What makes it a poem?
A poem is something with regularity. So if you have something like fixed number of words per line, or fixed number of syllables per line, or how short and long syllables or stressed and unstressed syllables interplay, and it's the same in each line. Certainly classical Greek and Latin poetry.
So we have rhythms so it's like rhythm rather than poem.
What do you mean rather than poem? No, these are poems.
It's rhythm rather than rhyme.
Right. You can have rhythm. You can have acrostic, which is each line begins with a successive letter of the alphabet or of
so would you consider the Psalms to be poems?
Absolutely. The Psalms in biblical poetry, the main aspect is parallelism. So you have in the Psalms, let's look at Psalm 147. 47. Hallelujah. Ki tov zammera Eloheinu, ki na'im navat ilah. Hallelujah. For it is good to sing to our God. That was clause A. For praise is sweet and beautiful. Onei Yerushalayim Adonai, Yisrael Yechanes. God builds Jerusalem. He ingathers the dispersed of Israel. Gadol Adonenu v'rav koach v'lithvonato ein mispar. Great is our God, and great in strength, and to his wisdom there is no reckoning. So each line has the parallelism. Now, parallelism can be many things. Parallelism can be synonymous. Parallelism can be related things, like the first line about clause of the line that we just quoted. First line says God's strength, and the second says God's strength is great. The second half says God's tvuna, God's
discernment, wisdom.
Discernment is great, but there's still parallel. Parallelism can be opposites. Parallelism can be the righteous rejoice in the light, and the wicked cry in the dark. And especially if it keeps going on, and then it says the righteous are successful with wealth, and the rich and the wicked decay in poverty. The righteous. And so, but all these, it's that regularity, that repetition of structure. All boils down to structure.
The example I love is Hazinu Hashemayim va'adabera. Here
we have this week's parasha. Yes.
So you have, it's going to be broadcast later, but you have both. You have synonyms and you have antonyms. You have shamayim va'aretz, and you have
hazino and tishma.
Exactly, which are synonyms.
Which are right. One is
and va'adebera and imrei fi is also
it's synonyms, but it's different parts of speech. Yeah. One is I speak, and the other is words.
And then you also have three items in each, right? You have ABC and ABC.
Right.
Right? Hazinu hashamayim v'adabera v'tishma ha'aretz.
Adabera, yeah.
Adabera,
yeah.
Adabera, okay.
Yeah.
So you have 3 and 3, right? So you have a structure there. All right. So we've got poetry in the Bible, which doesn't have rhymes.
Correct.
It has more rhythm and structure. And
parallelism. Parallelism is the most.
And parallelism
is the defining feature in biblical
poetry. But not always. So, for example, you have a psalm that ends repeatedly, Kilo lam chasto, right?
That's not parallelism? Not in the line itself. You're right. It's not parallelism in the tikbolet.
It's a refrain, right?
But it's a refrain. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now you jump forward to what century are we in for the earliest piyut that you're dealing with?
Earliest. I mean, again, it defines what you're going to define as a piyut. Murky. It's like
what you define as a piyut.
We're in the 4th century, the fifth.
Who's our earliest? Do we know a name of a paitan?
The earliest piyutim are anonymous. The earliest piyutim are anonymous. The last of the pre-classical paitanim is a man named Yosei ben Yosei.
Okay.
Pre-classical paitanim do not have rhyme, and they do not. Paitanim means authors of piyut. Pre-classical paitanim do not have rhyme.
Yeah.
And they do not sign their names. If there's an acrostic, which there usually is, it's going to be alphabetical, which is also what we find in the Bible. We don't find any name acrostics in the Bible. We find alphabetical acrostics in the Bible.
Right.
Psalms and Proverbs. Is there one in one of the prophets? Don't think so. Maybe.
There's Lamentations.
Yeah, right. There's Lamentations. Which is all alphabetical. Even the last chapter, which is not alphabetical, has exactly 22 verses. You know that?
Yeah.
There's no way that's a coincidence. There's no way that's a coincidence.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.